Hi there, this is B1 from DeadZ Gaming, and today we are doing a review of a lovely game called From Dust. From Dust is actually a God Sim game. It was published and developed by Ubisoft, and is actually the spiritual successor to a very popular God Sim game that was released in 1989 called Populous: The Beginning. Populous itself actually ended up on the PlayStation and had a very cult following, and this game claims to be the spiritual successor, which I must agree. In From Dust, you assume a godlike creature called the Breath. The Breath itself has the ability to pick up land, as you see now, and deposit it anywhere on the landscape. The landscape actually adapts to where you place land and various other things, and again, the landscape reacts like real landscape. Water erodes land away, lava burns, and so forth. The main things you can move about in the game is soil, lava, and water. This is very helpful, and it helps you shape the landscape, as initially in this game all this area here was flooded where these trees are, and it posed a great risk to your villagers. The breath actually comes from, well, you are actually summoned at the beginning of the game by these villagers, as you see here, and the aim of the game is to keep them safe and to actually help them find out about their ancestry. You actually teach them as the game goes on, and they learn more about where they came from, the world around them, and basically how to live a life in the world of From Dust. As you play the game, you need to capture these totems, and your villagers will build villages around them. The name villagers, you probably link the two, and as they build the villages, they make like a flag network through the trees, and vegetation spreads across the land. In each of the missions there is little subquests, say get the amount of vegetation to a certain amount, and other side bits. Talking about the actual missions, the game is actually split into, I think it's it's a sequence of missions. Each one contains various landscapes, ranging from mostly deserts to mostly water, and eventually majority of it is volcanic rock and ash. Each of the missions, like I pointed out earlier, you capture each of the totems, and then the aim of it is to get to this lovely building here. This is a passage which takes you to the next. But there is no time limit on the game. There is no time limit on the levels, so you can actually enjoy yourself and play it as a sort of sandbox game, especially with the different environments on the different ones. The game keeps varied. It keeps changing pace, and especially as there are natural disasters in the game, believe it or not. One moment you can be happy in a village, and the next moment there could be a tsunami, or there could be a volcanic eruption. This is an example of how the land adapts. I removed that dirt from that area, and the water is cutting through the landscape, and it's actually flooding the plains. As you can see, it's actually happening very quickly, and it makes for an interesting gameplay, as you're always fighting against nature, and everybody knows nature can be, a bit of a bitch. If I add a bit more here, as you can see, it's now flooded majority of that area. But I'm not worried, as this is one of the first missions, and it's quite easy to keep track of where all the elements are going. Later on, like I said, you have multiple elements to contend with, including fire plants, water plants, and other various parts of the wildlife, which will threaten you and your villagers. And it keeps the game fresh. It keeps it adaptive. The graphics themselves are absolutely gorgeous. Water flows like water. Lava actually looks hot and fiery, and when things do set on fire, it does look very spectacular, and the sound itself in the game is absolutely beautiful as well. The sound is actually fits the game perfect. Your tribesman, and when you use your abilities, you get various sounds made from what sounds like traditional Aboriginal and other tribal. Aboriginal just popped to my head, but other traditional tribal instruments. Cutscenes in the game, there's not many cutscenes, it's just a little short in between each area. Each area, it tends to be repeated apart from the last section, which hopefully I will show you now. Each section, the last section kind of gives you a bit of a sneak peek on what the area is around the next level. But there's no real such cutscenes as such, and as I haven't actually finished the last mission, I'm not too sure if there is a final. But as I can tell you, the game itself is absolutely fantastic. That's my personal opinion. If you love God games such as Black and White, Populous, and world-building games, then this is a beautiful change of pace and a beautiful change of scenery. This is one of the few cutscenes. Unfortunately, this is the cutscene that plays every single time your men go into the area. But as this section is on, it gives you a bit of a sneak peek of the world around you. Also, from Dust, once you have finished the main game, unlike me, once you have finished the main game, it also unlocks challenge modes. Challenge modes branch from anything to putting out fires and only being able to control water, to not being able to essentially much bigger where you have to deal with all 3 or 4 disasters at once. This can be very challenging, but again, it keeps the game fresh and keeps the game adapting, and it's very enjoyable. The game actually scored very high on Game Rankings and Metacritic when it came out, and it actually got quite high scores on Game Review. Late in the development cycle though, they actually were going to release this as an on-shelf game, but then they decided to change it to a online-only release, releasing things like the PSN network and Xbox Live and Steam. This actually doesn't take a toll on the fact that the game is enjoyable. Sometimes you can buy arcade games and you feel cheated. This game makes you feel like you that 1,200 Microsoft points, which is how I brought it, is worth every penny. The game itself is enjoyable and coming back for more. And there's always a new challenge presented, even when you go back to levels you have already completed. It doesn't feel boring. It doesn't feel ridiculous, you know, like doing the same thing over and over and over. These items are called totems. Your shaman actually comes and picks these up, and they take them back to your village. These are the things that actually protect you from these natural disasters I was saying earlier. The natural disasters can actually wipe out your whole village, which is very bad, especially if you're getting into the game and you're, say, an area into a certain area. You're really enjoying yourself, and then suddenly a volcano erupts and sets fire to all the trees around your village. Or say a tsunami comes along and washes all your villagers away, and then you have to start the level again, and this is where the challenging parts actually come in. Again, keeps the game fresh, keeps it enjoyable, and I can't really complain about the rest of it. And I hope you've enjoyed this review. I hope you're interested in purchasing this game, as I really can't recommend it. And if there's any games you would like me to review or do walkthroughs of in the future, just send me a message on DeadZ Gaming on YouTube, or you can add me on Facebook. DeadZ Space Gaming, and I hope to hear from you all soon. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed my review. I will continue playing, and I will end the video shortly after the tsunami hits, just so you can see a natural disaster happen in one of my games and see how cool the actual effects are and how it adapts the landscape. This is B1 signing off.
Sekarang tidak lagi musuh kita. Ya di duniani waku laki-laki. Wajah kijiji tanpa rasa takut.